Yeah, my name is Oleksii. I'm a PhD student at Stony Brook University from Praxac Lab, working with Professor Nikiforakis. And today I want to present a demo of PrivacyMeter. So, yeah, it works. So last year, at the last year's DTL conference, when I was pitching this idea, I was using the following example. So suppose you are going to CNN Money website, all right, and if you're using such kind of anti-tracking tool like Ghostry, you will see the following message that you have 64 trackers found on this page, and there is like this list of tracker names. The question is, what does this 64 actually mean, right? Because we know that if you are going to some popular website nowadays, it's likely that there will be lots of trackers there. And we can have how to get this intuition whether 64 is high or it's actually low for such kind of websites. So recently I've actually checked some popular anti-tracking tools, and indeed they provide now a bit more of information. For example, they put trackers into such categories like advertising versus analytics, social related trackers, but there are still many that just like Privacy Badger or maybe universal tools like uBlock. They will just show you this list of basically tracking domains. And it's basically up to you, like whether to allow them or disallow them. And the hope is, I believe, that you have like enough technical background and basically to do it smart and fast. So this still doesn't answer our question, right? How to start speaking privacy, not the numbers, or how to translate basically numbers into privacy. And the thing is that we want to present like users with some kind of privacy score, privacy message, right? And it's we need to cover like different actually questions. Like again, first question, is this a reasonable number of trackers, right, on this web page? And is this a reasonable number of trackers for such kind of websites? And of course, reputation of trackers matters, right? So are those trackers bad or they're actually rather reputable? But also whether like some of those trackers actually track you in more intrusive way versus in others, as they gather more information, for example. Of course, there are many different other privacy practices that contribute to the overall privacy score of a website, right? So we can imagine different factors. And in general, we want to answer the question, should I continue browsing this website, or maybe it's better to leave, right? So the solution that we proposed is browser Chrome extension, PrivacyMeter. So this is a tool that gives you a real-time privacy quantification for the web, right? So upon visiting a website, it immediately presents you a relative privacy score for this website. So basically, when I say relative, I mean in comparison to other known privacy practices on different websites on the web. Plus, we provide descriptive warnings, descriptive messages about privacy violations found and like in general about privacy score. So let's see how it looks like on the same CNN Money web page. So first of all, there is like a red icon that's with a number. It shows that 8 problems were found. And when we click, we'll see this like detailed view. I hope you can see some of these details. Should be fine. Yeah, so the thing is that we have like these 4 main box plots, right, for different groups of privacy features. So like first one is number of trackers, then Fingerprinting API called third-party content on the web page, and number of leaky forms. So we chose the box plot as it seems to be like very clear to understand type of visualization. Plus, it shows you immediately like whether the current website is an outlier from the overall picture. And for example, like for number of trackers, we see that it's colored with red now, and we see like this red dot that shows the current number of trackers found on this web page. And we see that, yeah, indeed, like this is outlier website. We also have like this yellow colored Fingerprinting API calls and number of third-party contents. Basically, it's high, but not an outlier yet. And we see that number of leaky forms is green. In addition, so each of these like group of privacy features, privacy widgets, they contribute some deterministic messages that not to be like not need to be related, right? Relative to other websites. For example, danger, there are trackers with low Web of Trust reputation score. Then, like warnings, there are international trackers on this page, served from server located in another country. than the website that you visit, and so on. So we have also like this part of deterministic messages, and there is like a detail button that you can click and get some details information. Another benefit here is you see at the top this websites category is currently it's unspecified. But we know that CNN Money is actually a news website. And if we change it to news, the thing is that picture will change, right? We have all the box plots, this relative picture green. So appears to be that CNN Money actually, in comparison to other news websites, they have rather normal privacy practices. Of course, these deterministic messages, they won't disappear because we still have trackers with low reputation, we still have international trackers and leaky forms. I have like some more details about actually UI choices, but I probably will skip it in terms of like for the sake of time. So like again, we have this right now. We support these 4 groups of privacy widgets. It's web trackers. So again, we have relative score that we show on box plot. Plus we have some specific messages, and you can click on details to retrieve the whole list of tracking domains. Fingerprinting API calls, we cover like 60 relevant APIs to device and browser fingerprinting, and we show like the overall number of APIs called and how many calls were made. Third-party content, it's more about third-party iframes. Again, like the intuition is that if there are too many visual content that is served like to a user from third parties on a web page, user may not be aware with what actually party he or she interacts at the moment. And plus we have like these general things like mixed HTTP, HTTPS inclusions and other privacy violations or vulnerabilities potential. Leaky Web Forms, so we decided to have also this box plot for comparison. Plus we have, of course, like these deterministic warnings. Some of them are red, some of them yellow. Red ones, for example, if you see like really leaky forms that has lots of sensitive information or like password fields and so on. So I have a slide like with architecture just to show that actually it was not that trivial to implement such kind of extension. So like this client side on the left has lots of modules, and the thing is that first of all we had to do lots of trade-offs between performance, accuracy, and usability, like different questions like size of cache and so on. Another thing is that we want to make the statistics that we gather from website representative, right? We want to compare it, to be able to compare it. And the thing is there are lots of trackers that can start fingerprinting you in a while after browsing a website, right? Some scripts additional will be loaded and so on. So there were different like design challenges that we had to do. And of course, like on the right, the picture points that we have also a server side with a background truth about different privacy practices of different websites. And we have our own crawlers that basically use the same extension to crawl different web pages and gather statistics from them, to basically enrich the background truth database. Future plans are about adding more privacy metrics, basically privacy features that contribute to the overall privacy score. For example, like this example of how much information, actually sensitive information, website collects from you. So on the left we have, for example, this web form that asks you for exact date of birth, and on to the right we have web forms that ask you for your age range. Of course, like the right one is a bit more privacy friendly, right? Especially depending on the purpose of the website. Currently, we just count number of visible input elements, basically amount of information asked from you, but I guess like this insight in purpose can add additional benefits and features in terms of privacy. Some words about crowdsourcing. So of course, extension has crowdsourcing option possible. And the thing is that, yeah, here we need basically like your support. Right now we are working on like enriching the audience of users, because that will help us to, of course, like enrich the database of background truths. It will be help us to reach the web pages that actually we can't get with crawlers, right? So we need like really like web pages that hidden and hard to reach on the web. Privacy policy, of course, we do not collect any personally identifiable information. We do not link any statistics that we gather, and of course, no visited URLs will be, and there like statistics about privacy practices will be shared with third parties. And one point to mention here that without crowdsourcing, we still cache tracker statistics on a backend that just like for performance, for functionality, but no links to actual URLs that you visit will be shared. So nothing here. Some additional bonus, like some additional benefits from crowdsourcing that we can reach. Basically, having a nice audience for PrivacyMeter will be able to answer the following interesting statistics, right? So first of all, what is the comparative landscape of privacy practices on the web web pages that users really visit? Can we find intrusive trackers on hard-to-reach web pages that are hidden under like login, registration walls, some different actions that are hard to read with crawlers, right? Is the situation with trackers and privacy practices different there? How many unique trackers do web users meet on a regular basis? That was actually very interesting statistics when we selected design choices for like cache sizes and everything. It was actually interesting to calculate. And of course, how can we improve the usability of privacy tool? The idea is that right now we still have like a rather scientific interface, and the idea is that we want to make it even easier, like to even be more clear and easier to read for like non-technical users. So extension is available in Chrome store. There's like easy links that you can follow, like bit.ly PrivacyMeter. And yeah, please install it, please play with it, and we will be happy like to receive any feedback.